Hi guys, welcome to today's episode of Africa Unlocked. Today we are going to be talking about the Berlin Conference. If this is your first time of watching this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to follow my Instagram page, Africa Unlocked. There's a lot of stories there, there's a lot of pictures. Be sure to check it out. Have you ever wondered how the African countries are formed? How they are divided? Well, this conference, the Berlin Conference, is how the African countries were divided. That is how every country in Africa got their borders. So, let's get started. The Berlin Conference. What is the Berlin Conference? What is this conference about? Berlin is a city in Germany, right? How does this have to do with African history? Well, we are about to find out. The Berlin Conference is the conference in which the Africa you see today, the map of Africa, how it is divided, that is the conference where it took place. Just like me, I know you might be wondering, why did this happen in Berlin if it's the conference of how Africa is going to be divided? Well, I'm as surprised as you are. And another shocking thing that you might find surprising is during this conference, not a single African leader was invited. There is no African, it was all European people deciding how Africa was going to be divided. The Berlin Conference happened between 1884 and 1885. It is stated that the Berlin Conference started due to the jealousy of the King of Belgium at that time, King Leopold II. I made a post about him. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out. The letter I sent to his missionaries back then in Congo. So the Berlin Conference, what really brought that conference into life is that King Leopold at that time was the King of Belgium, was jealous of the Queen of England about how much territories that the Queen of England had in Africa. So he set out pretending to be a humanitarian, to be someone that wanted to help, and started lying to African countries about how he can, that time they weren't countries, so pardon me, he was lying to African settlements, African colonies that time. He was saying, lying about providing them aid and more security, just the same way it is right now. You can see the big players of the world standing for other small countries, especially African countries, as a big player that is standing for them as a security guarantee. This has started all the way back then. So after this, it called for a meeting among the European allies about how the resources of Africa can be shared instead of them fighting and killing each other over the land, because that time there was fight among even the white people over lands in Africa. Everybody was fighting for their own share of the African bread. So he called them, he said, look guys, instead of fighting and killing each other over the resources of these people, we can actually work together. Where do you have, we see which colonies each country has conquered. Now let's see how we can share it and work in hands, to provide also security guarantees for ourselves, and let these people believe that if I own this, if let's say for example Belgium owns this section and England owns that other section, if you are not owned by anybody, it's easy for England to attack you and take over your land. But if I, Belgium, give you this security guarantee, if you join me, England cannot attack you. This is what they were saying to the African leaders back then. But the African leaders back then did not have any knowledge that the conference had already taken place and they have already divided Africa according to their own interest. So it was easy for Africa to also fall into this trap, and that is why Africa is divided as it is today. So there's no surprise that sometimes you see a Nigerian and a Cameroonian looking very much alike, because the way that these people divided Africa is by rivers and mountain. And before the division, a group of people that live in a colony can have a river in between them, it does not mean they are not from the same place. But after that division, that river separates them. Now there is a border. Now this is Nigeria, this is Cameroon, but they used to be the same people from the same colony. But because the leaders also, they agreed to the result of that conference after they have been tricked to tell them that you will get security guarantees, you get this, you get that, it's easy for everybody to fall through and now adjust to the new reality, which is where we found ourselves today. The only region of Africa that was able to survive this Berlin Conference division was Ethiopia. The emperor of Ethiopia back then, Menelik, was aware. He was aware of this whole thing going on, and he did not buy into the whole idea when they were trying to sell that idea to him. That's why today you can find out that Ethiopia has always been Ethiopia. It has historically been there. There's no name change, there's no region change. The Ethiopian people are Ethiopian people, because that is the only African country that was able to survive the Berlin Conference. One thing is certain for sure about the Berlin Conference: it was used to create a legal way for the Europeans to take possession of Africa, to be able to share Africa. And this would have never been possible if not for the cooperation of the Europeans. That'll be all for today. That is a breakdown, a short summary of the Berlin Conference. If you want to read more and know more about this, please make sure you Google and do more research. But that'll be all for today. We're going to be talking about another topic in the next video. Please, if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and check out other videos. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.